Hello, my name is Eduardo Rekogama. I am the project manager for Bulldog General Incorporated. So today we will be talking about the Mayfair Elementary School CMU wall project proposal. So going into the project description, we have been given a notice to proceed date, which is the 1st of June 2023. And the given duration for this project is 60 calendar days, which means that we start on the 1st of June and we have to end the project by the 31st of June. We have also been informed according to our contract that each and every day that has been delayed after the date of 31st of June, the contractor will be charged $500 in liquidated damages. So speaking about the normal overall scope of work when it comes to construction, is we have the removal of existing fence. We have a 690-foot length, 6 feet high CMU wall, which is anti-graffiti paint coated, along with a 2 feet wide valley gutter system. Going into the project schedule, here I have listed down all the important perspectives of the project scheduling system. We initially start off with pre-construction where we have the subcontracting, the subcontracting and the submittals. After that, we move on to the construction phase where we begin with the make ready, where we set up our site, we do our demolition, and then we do our underground site utilities, where we are actually changing our changing the existing irrigation lines that are there on site. We do a rough excavation, like over excavation, in order to make pathway for the excavation of the footing. So moving on to the next part, which is and then up next we have masonry, where we have a CMU wall, a valley gutter system, and then for the CMU wall, we also have the anti-graffiti paint, which is another activity that we are planning on working on. And then later on, we have the site work, which is basically improving the site back to its original state. And then the project closeout. So as you can see, we have planned out the project for 60 days. So moving on to the project schedule, when it comes to the details of the project schedule, as you can see, the subcontracting phase takes about 10 days. And then as soon as the subcontracting phase ends, we move on to the submittals and procurement, which takes about 26 days. The submittals and procurement and the subcontracting phase both happen at the same time. After that, we move on to the construction phase. The construction phase takes about 50 days overall for the entire construction phase. We broke down the construction phase into small individual segments which have like minor segments within it. So going on to those individual segments, we have the make ready proportion, which takes about 18 days. That is in order to make our site ready for the construction work, where we set up our temporary fences, we pave the roads in order to bring in our trucks, our equipment, we safe off the pedestrian access, we add our storage bins and waste bins so that we can have a neat site. And then after that, we do our underground site utilities where we actually dig up the existing irrigation lines and we relocate them, we test them, and we backfill it so that we have a proper running irrigation system that doesn't come in the way of the CMU wall. Moving on to the next part, which is we set up the site elevation and we do a slight bit of site grading. So going on to the next individual step, which is the masonry work. So within this section, we have broken it down into three parts, which is the footings, the CMU wall, and then the valley gutter system. So when it comes to the footing, we initially do our layout for the footing based on the engineer's specs and the drawings. And then after that, we do a neat excavation in order to bring out a very consistent ground so that we don't need to use any sort of formwork where the ground and the land will where the ground will be our formwork. And then later on, we do install our rebar system for the footing and the foundation and the CMU wall. And then we give it about 5 days to cure the concrete. So the footings take about 10 days overall to complete. As soon as the footings are done, we move on to the CMU wall. So for the CMU wall, we plan on doing the CMU wall at the same time with the valley gutter system. So during this period, while the CMU wall is being built, the valley gutter system will be laid out and it will be neatly excavated so that we can install the rebar, so that we can place the concrete and let it cure. So the valley gutter system usually takes about 9 days and the CMU wall takes about 7 days. The CMU wall crew will be separate to the valley gutter system crew. So there will be two crews working on the same site and two sides of the site at the same time. And this will overall take about, as I mentioned earlier, 9 days for the valley gutter system and 7 days for the CMU wall. As soon as the concrete curing is done, we move on to the anti-graffiti paint, which we are using according to the owner's request. And this will be applied as soon as the concrete cures, and it will take about 3 days. Up next, we have the site work. So within the site work, we have a little bit of backfilling and compacting, where we compact the ground around it wherever we have bad level. And then we place asphalt patches in order to, make sure that we bring the site back to its original quality state and bring the asphalt ground to its original state. Up next, so the asphalt patching takes about 2 days, and the overall site preparation back to its normal state takes about 3 days altogether. And then at the end, we come do a site cleanup where we sweep the site, we remove all our trash bins, we remove our temporary fence, and then once all that is done, we hand over the site back to the owners and we conclude the project. So moving on to the risks that are involved with this project. So one of the main risks is the rain/weather issue. So due to rain, we might have 3 to 5 days of rain that we can expect towards the end of July. During this time, we expect, if a delay does encounter with rain, we expect liquidated damages worth about $2,500 from our end. And we also have another issue that we consider as a risk, which is material procurement, possible long lead times when it comes to concrete and rebar. Up next, we have managing dirt, dust, and noise during the project. Managing the dirt and dust and the noise is a very important thing since it is on a school ground, also around a area where there's a lot of traffic and where there's a lot of residential areas. We do not want the dust and the dirt from our excavation, from our site work to end up polluting the whole area and affecting the students and the people who live nearby. Up next, we have safety, which is a risk, and we believe that in every project there is a safety risk. In order to mitigate these safety risks, going into safety, speaking about safety, we have a site safety plan in place where we have all our employees meet pre-checked whether they have their OSHA 30 certification. We also make sure that everyone has their PPE on site. There will be a safety manager on site at all times, making sure that the site is safe and that nothing bad goes on in the site. Up next, we have the training and education. So each and every employee/subcontractor will be given a training and education related to the construction that will be going on at this site, and especially since it is a public school property, we believe that the the health and safety of the students is also as important as the contractor safety. We will have site control and signage systems where all the hazardous areas will be clearly marked with warning signs, and a physical barrier will be placed at the work site so that no one can enter from the site to the school and from the school to the site, which means no student can enter the site and no contractor can enter towards the school premises. Thank you for listening. We believe that we can finish this project within 60 days within the budget given so that we do not end up going into liquidated damages. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.